Welcome back to Global TV Talk Show, a unit of globalbusinessnews.net. And I'm in Southern California. We're waiting for a rainstorm to happen today, and yet it's still sunny out. So you never know. So our guest is in the Toronto area, Emily Bron. Welcome again, Emily Bron.
Hello, Ed. We have a little bit sunny, but really frosty weather outside. And I'm looking forward to get warmth from the California.
Oh, okay. Are you ready for the vibe?
Yeah.
Okay, so Emily Bron, as you could tell, is an expert. I'm telling you that she is, but international lifestyle consulting, guiding, I'm reading this now from your LinkedIn, guiding remote workers and professional baby boomers to find freedom and dream location for relocating abroad and taking intentional steps to live better by doing remote work in Mexico or in other places, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when's your next trip to Mexico?
I can tell you that yesterday I purchased ticket March 31st, so I can report on the date now today. And I have already some plans, not yet formed completely. It will depend on, on business events for the next 3 months.
Right. Yeah. March 31st. Boy, that's a long way off.
Yeah. So I have time to prepare.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect time for that area, because it'll be 75, 80 degrees easily.
Coming from Toronto, I would prefer to spend a couple of winter months in Mexico, but it is what it is this year. We'll see.
Yeah, well, good. So do you have a target location?
I will start from Mexico City. Oh, that's why I mentioned. My flight is to Mexico City because I need to have a couple of meetings in the beginning of April, and I'm planning to finish it in Riviera Maya, kind of this direction.
Well, that's really good. Okay, let's talk about your business and a quick review of the year, and I will also talk about my business too. So you've discovered a wellspring of goodwill and opportunity in several places, but let's talk about Mexico first. You've had meetings with real estate people and medical people and government people, financiers,
expats in Mexico. A
right.
lot of things in connection with expats, Americans and Canadians and local people living in Mexico. Yes.
Doing research to help inform your customers and contacts in the US and Canada and Europe. So I know that you spend time in Mazatlan and somewhere else elevated high up in the Mexico City area. Yes. And you introduced me to, what's her name, Kathy, the violinist?
Yes, I'm planning to visit her. I will be in her area, hopefully in April. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's nice to carry on and extend your business relationships into friendships. This past year has been a great year for globaltvtalkshow.com and Global Business News because of doing Zoom and going across borders and across time, across space, bringing people together and business people who ordinarily they would never meet as a result of the pandemic and increased costs and the ease of doing business, of making a connection, whether it's at my conference, teleconference, or a one-on-one interview, learning about people. There's nothing like being in person. However, this is a really good and effective medium. This is a good way of building a relationship and rapport and understanding and trust, so that when an in-person meeting happens, you're already friends. You've already broken the ice. And so it makes it much easier. So this is what I have found. We always imagined that's possible, but never did it really to the extent possible that we did this past year, producing meetings in Latin America and in Japan and Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur. Who would have guessed? India, Dubai, Israel, throughout Europe, Brazil. So it's time for us to relaunch our live meetings. So I'm calling them VIP meetings.
Okay.
VIP means virtual, in person, VIP. Okay. So we will go to target geographic corporate centers, typically London, Paris, Hamburg, Zurich.
Toronto was mentioned. Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto and Montreal, Mexico City, very likely also in Rio, Sao Paulo, maybe even Buenos Aires. But I'm looking for co-sponsors who will pay for it, and that will enable us to do this travel and bring people together in person, people that we've already met doing Zoom meetings, but not in person. And so it's time to go to the next level. And so I'm sourcing for co-sponsors now and host partners. And we will be offering a package deal if there's considerable interest to do more than one. So very, very capable of just having one at a time sponsors. That's okay. But there'll be a discount for multiple purchases. So in each location, we'll be striving to co-source topics, co-source services that everybody who travels could use. So therein lies the magic of the marketing using Zoom as well as in person. So for instance, in Hamburg, in London, or Paris, or in Zurich, or in Milan, we'll be partnering with corporate housing providers. In return for lodging, we give them a sponsorship. So in each location, that will be the backbone of our visiting and make it affordable. And then we'll be sourcing co-sponsors as well, who will be speakers on various topics, such as real estate and work from home, work from anywhere. So that means tax and legal information about that kind of thing, as well as where to live, who to trust, relocation services, as well as consulting for HR business partners and the managers of talent. So global talent acquisition is the underlying theme. So we're calling our conference series Global Business Talent Conferences. And then that brings in everybody related. So I would certainly welcome you and others to be involved in remotely or in person at some or other, including Mexico City. So let's talk about what you have learned, what you have decided on doing in the new year as a result of this year's efforts and successes.
I can tell you that this year really shaped a lot of my visions, and there are so many changes still happening around us and in the world that I believe even for the future year, I would be kind of affected by these changes from the business perspective. But I would confirm the same satisfaction with the fact that Zoom made us close to each other. Actually,
Right.
this year I met you, and through your platform, I met many other people that I believe we can rely on each other. So it's already good a sign. And opportunities of Zoom and current technologies provided me chances to meet a lot of people in Europe, mostly in different countries and in Mexico, and my personal travel to Mexico. So what I think, and I would say even I'm not planning now to more than 3 months from my personal and business life, because I would like to be agile, as it was, the word already in
Yeah.
IT industry and in other industry, but I would like to be flexible enough. And because I'm solopreneur, I can quickly adjust, I would say, my pace and even my interest. And I believe that from many other countries I was reaching before, I would really concentrate more on Mexico because, again, I'm solopreneur and I see a lot of interesting for me things happening in Mexico. That's why I would be visiting Mexico in April. I don't know yet for how long. But on a global scale, I'm sure I see already all signs of, from one side, economical recession, and everyone, it's not me, economists speak about it, but at the same time people would be relocating. People already started relocation. People already started and actually get taste and experience with remote work. So global mobility would be going on despite all. It's what I can tell.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot during this year, and I'm looking now, actually trying to niche down, not only on a country, but what kind of people I would help. I do my research now, because before and even still, I'm speaking about professional baby boomers and remote workers, but I see opportunities, and I believe that startup entrepreneurs, more mobile, category, people who are, because of business needs and personal, they more easy or quickly in decision to relocate. It's what I'm checking now, and I don't know yet. It might change, but yes, it's what I'm checking now. Startups and scale ups to see how I can reach this market, because it's personally interesting to me, and because I believe these people already looking for the new markets.
Yeah. And Mexico is really diverse, not only geographically, but weather-wise, and which is unusual, because a lot of people just think of it's hot and dusty, but it depends where you're at, because in the north, for instance, just over the U.S. border, there's a huge industrial
Monterrey area.
area, Monterrey, which is a hub of automobile manufacturing, big time, and the cars are made there, then shipped into U.S. And there's also energy production. Mexico is a huge oil and gas producer, and chemicals and semiconductors.
All kind of industrial directions. Right. I don't know yet how. By the way, if you would have some reach to this kind of people or companies who are looking for advice on where to relocate, and I'm speaking about startup. Actually, Monterrey, it's #1 startup city in Mexico, as far as I know, depending on industry, but there are some other regions for different type of industry. So it's what I am about. I can tell you that I am working now with European incubator. It's how I get this idea, kind of participating in their work in Amsterdam. It's kind of on my side. I will be still with them. For me, it's new experience, and they actually host people from different countries. It's not only European platform. So I'm here. I even don't know, maybe only a couple of people from Netherlands, like from Italy, from different countries. So am I. So somebody from Russia, very interesting to me. And I get this vibe, and it's what I'm thinking about. But I will see how it's gonna work, because I need to change a lot kind of in my business, marketing and other strategies. Yes.
Well, it's impressive. So people out there, you should go and visit Emily's website, Emily Bron, BRON.com. It's so easy. And you'll see a whole bunch of things there, and really interesting reading and visuals. So this past year, I've learned about how corporates, corporate managers and executives are facing so much turmoil internally because of, well, it's caused by the pandemic, when people couldn't really work together. So everybody was remote for a while, and now companies, particularly in manufacturing, you can't work from home. You got to be in the plant.
Yeah.
And in banking and finance, anything to do with that, in particular, people need to be in the office. And yet there's so many other industries where it's very okay and productivity is fine, morale is good, and people want to work remote, maybe not every day, but most of the time. So, and just this morning, I was reading this thing about how, as it turns out, Thursdays has been not just Monday and Friday to work remotes and the other days in the office, okay, the hybrid system.
Mm-hmm.
But Thursdays has become a really popular day to take off.
To break a week and to do maybe
Right.
some
In
business.
addition to Monday and Friday. So you have
Yeah.
not in the office Monday, Thursday, Friday. And so
If
that means Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
if productivity is not affected and employer is satisfied, it's okay. Like as a solopreneur and entrepreneur, I'm actually kind of working every day, but I'm flexible to change my time schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now the people that your customers, who your target would be the people in our age bracket, or would they be younger?
It's what I noticed, that I'm still happy to help baby boomers, but they take more time for decision for known reasons. Sorry. Younger people, they're more mobile because they need to build their life, or they like how I see what happened over the last 2 years. I would say middle class professionals, they suffered a lot, and some businesses were closed, and some real changes pushing people to think about what to do next. Baby boomers, more and less, if they're living in their homes and they still rely on some, eggs collected over the years, and more family ties, like different reasons. They're less mobile at this point rather than younger generations. That's why I'm kind of shifting towards younger, like from my perspective. And by the way, difference between me and other CEOs and companies you are communicating with, I'm helping people. They're working more for relocation for the company interest, yes, and they're looking from different perspective. I am about how to help a person or family with their choice, and they might be and mostly they're not employees of some companies. Mostly they are solopreneur or self-entrepreneurs, and small business owners. There's a kind of difference between businesses, but I'm always interested to learn from big companies, and I believe at the end of the day we are working for the same people. So there is, it should be interaction between us. And speaking about more practical programs that I am involved now, practical for the people again, or maybe for organization. I found some partners, and actually they're working now to help people with mortgages. It's different company, not what I announced before, for say Canadians or for Mexican living in Canada or maybe in different United States, actually to get some financial services to buy property or some other services I don't know yet. While they're living in United States and Canada, they can work through this bank for their Mexican kind of properties or maybe establishing business. I don't know yet details. It's what I'm looking forward to learn in the spring. So I believe, and it's interesting for me, so it can be worked and should be worked, say, from Canadian and Mexican side at this point. So I'm really practical. I'm in all this kind of, I'm thinking how and from what side to help people with their kind of day-to-day needs, be it like, relocation. I'm not physically moving people, but to help them, with finances or to establish, I think it's very important.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and this information is really, really handy. So tell me about your view of Eastern Europe and the terrible things that have gone on in Ukraine. And yet now suddenly there's talk of having a peace talk begin. So, far be it from, I don't have any answers or, insight into that, but there's been such a mess created and just terrible butchery and pain and loss for so many people who don't deserve that. So I don't know how they can ever make peace. What's your view?
First of all, the topic about peace and it's not the new one. It was, and it's, under different circumstances, it sounds differently. I'm not okay with this personally. And not only, so I understand the reason, but I understand that a lot of politics, which unfortunately for Ukraine, now shifting kind of this way, that they need kind of to stop with all help they kind of received, because Putin somehow don't need to lose his face. Like in my view, his face already lost for many generations. But there is more politics than common sense. And in all wars, actually, historically, people in countries were, no, in many wars, they were going till the kind of last point of they could, but maybe because Ukraine is kind of not very strong country in regard, it's very strong in spirit as they proved over the year, but because there are so many other players, yes, in the games, unfortunately, and people are speaking about possible World War III, nuclear possible disaster. Actually, it's still, in my view, possible, because I believe that all what is Putin bring, he will do it later. So it might be stopped for some time, but it will not resolve the problem. So there is a parallels with, Sorties situation in Sorties before Second World War was created, like economical situation. So it's really very gruesome parallels, which I don't want to go. We'll see. I'm not deciding. I'm not happy with this, and I understand that there's a loss of people life. When I think about it, yes, but Ukraine is destroyed, and what? And Putin will get kind of easily from it. Like I don't understand. In my view, yes, it's not fair, I would say.
Yeah, it's so difficult. We need to come to a close in a few minutes on this, just because I think our audience probably has other things to do today. But but I want to make sure we cover the most important things. And it's good to get your perspective because you're originally from that area many years ago. But
I'm still in contact even today with my friends in Ukraine. So in my perspective, sometimes different, like on some questions, but here I am, I even surprised because, you know, Americans were heavily involved in many wars and different kind of, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I can tell even openly that Europe shows a full disappointment over this year, like a lot of words, but not, you know, supported by deeds, or supported by deeds after, you know, some reminders many times, and even American help. Like it's not what I was expecting, and I wish Ukrainian will get out of, you know, situation most what they can. I can tell you.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's pray for peace. So I thank you very much for being on our talk show. So before we close, though, tell me what project is most interesting to you for January and February.
You know, I will keep my eye and hand on several kind of projects, because again, I'm dealing with startups, and you know, it's sometimes unpredictable. So whatever I mentioned, this project in Mexico about mortgages or financial services, another project I'm involved, which was kind of stalled from my perspective. It should start moving next January. So I'm open. At the same time, I can tell that I'm taking and upgrading my skills in marketing and video, trying to be prepared for my trip, and actually for the new technology which is coming actually for marketing and for all of us. So I'm trying to be aware of what's going on. I'm reading and listening a lot of what's happening in different countries, specifically in Europe and North America and Latin America. Telling the truth, I'm very concerned about power the socialist government took in Latin America. I was born in a socialist country, and I don't like socialism. So it's my position. We will not go to details. Not that I don't like. I see how it's dangerous for people and for societies. So that's why actually I see, you know, how all this changing, and I started to think actually being honest to myself in my customer, where I can advise people to go, you know, and it will be still for a couple of years. So I am looking, reading thoroughly, analyzing from my perspective how situation is changing for the people. It's what I'm about.
Well, it's very nice to know you, Emily Bron.
Oh,
And thank you for being my customer.
Thank you. I have pleasure to communicate with you. And
you.
actually, I believe we will find some, yeah, I don't know, business interest and or just personal communication in a new year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for being on Global TV Talk Show again, and we'll see you in the new year with a fresh spirit. Take care.
Yes. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Ed.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.